Hi there, this is John Wilkinson again from History Made Easier, and in this skills presentation I'm going to look at evidence. Not for your source paper, but how you might use evidence in your essays. And I'm going to look at three things. What is evidence? Now that might seem obvious, but let's see where I take that one. How do you use evidence? And how, if at all, do you evaluate its worth? I always say that almost anything in history is evidence of something else. Let's go through your 6 core topics to show what I mean. In the Paris Peace Treaties, quotes from the Big Three can be used as evidence of their aims, or as evidence that the treaties were indeed a compromise. Events like the Corfu crisis can be used as evidence that the League was struggling to make collective security work. Before the 1930s, I might add. You can use endless examples from Hitler, from Mein Kampf, his speeches, his actions, to show that he was prepared to risk war. Indeed, that he wanted war. Moving on to the Cold War topics, in explaining the origins of the Cold War, you can again use quotes from the main players, as well as events like the takeover of Eastern Europe by the Soviet Union or the Truman Doctrine, as evidence of blame on both sides. In containment, you can point to evidence of a coordinated attack on South Korea as evidence of Kim Il-sung's guilt. You can point to evidence of Diem's corruption as a reason for the lack of domestic support for his regime, or that America was mistaken in giving their support to him. And with solidarity or the collapse of the Soviet Union, you can use economic data as evidence that the Polish and Soviet regimes simply weren't working, weren't providing a good economy for the people. So, you're not short of evidence. The thing is, you have to see opportunities to use evidence. Let me give you an example of what I'm getting at. Here's a past question. Why were there disagreements between the Soviet Union and the West at the Potsdam Conference? Now I know you will only write 2 paragraphs, 2 explanations, but I'm going to give you 3. You could have a paragraph on ideology, and you would draw from each ideology as evidence of why those ideologies couldn't live together. Capitalism and its profit motive, and the command economy as an example. You could also have a paragraph that focuses on how each side mistrusted the other, and use British and French appeasement of Hitler, or the Nazi-Soviet pact as evidence of mistrust. Or you could have a paragraph on personalities and use quotes from Stalin, Churchill or Truman as evidence. There's always more than one way to answer a question. Now, on the whole, you don't have to evaluate the value or merit of the evidence in your essays. This isn't your source paper. Though you can say that different pieces of evidence together confirm the point or the judgment you are making. And if there is some doubt to the evidence, you can say so, though I would only point this out in an argument you don't support. And so that means a C question. The key is that you should make use of evidence in your essays, but you don't make the essay about the evidence. I hope that makes sense. But use the word evidence. Tell the examiner what you are doing. The evidence for this can be seen, and then you say where it can be seen. There is clear evidence to support this claim, and then you give examples. Evidence to back this claim includes, again, you give examples. I hope you understand what I mean by these points and that you find my skills presentations useful. If you're watching this video during your course, do go back to it and the other skills videos during your revision. How you get across your points will determine your grade as much as your knowledge and understanding. Now, if you should be interested in tutorials, you know what to do by now. Get your parents to get in touch with me at historymadeeasier@gmail.com to see if we can sort something out. My tutorials are designed to be self-contained. That is, there will not be extra work for you to do outside of the tutorial, unless of course you want that. And I would add that tutorials with a friend can be even more effective than on your own, so you might want to consider that. But in any case, let me thank you, as always I hope, for listening, and wish you the very best of luck with your studies. Cheers.